today. Is the UFC headed to Washington, D.C.? But more importantly, are they headed to the White House? To the big house? To the house on top of that hill? All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy, Matt. And we are here to talk about today some recent news that just came out. Direct from the President of the United States, President Trump, as well as Dana White, about a possible card, a possible fight, a couple of fights, one fight, your fight, my fight, everybody's fight. A UFC mixed martial arts fight, either on the White House lawn, somewhere on the White House grounds, in the red bedroom, the blue bedroom, the Lincoln bedroom, Washington's bedroom, somewhere on the White House grounds, in the vicinity of the White House, on that block, okay, the UFC might be having a show. You know what I'm saying? Now, we don't really know too much more than that, other than both men touted it, both men being President Trump as well as Dana White. It was brought up in a speech by Trump or some sort of gathering. I don't really know, but something. And for one, let's just kick it off. As an MMA fan, you know, I got into watching it right around the Brock Lesnar time, right? Like Brock Lesnar days, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, I definitely knew about Brock Lesnar from WWE and all of that. And it was like, I'm hearing that he's going to be in a real life, like a cage fight. And I'm like, what? That's a pretty big dude. I might have to see what this dude's getting ready to do in a cage fight. I didn't know nothing about nothing, right? I obviously knew like Hoist Gracie was different people because I'd kind of seen different UFC fights, but I wasn't like a watcher, right? So fast forward to now, something that just started out as a cage fight, you know, no rules, anything goes. You know, the early days, people getting teeth knocked out, you know, people getting hit in the groin like it ain't nothing. Like, it ain't no foul, bro. Let's just do that. Whatever you're trying to do. Like, you know, crazy stuff. Fish hooking, gouging of the eyes, whatever they had to do, they did, right? You know, the Tank Abbott days, you know, Ken Shamrock, you know, things was wild, right? So to hear now that there could possibly be a show sometime in the near future at the White House, that's a trip, that's wild, that's diabolical, that's as crazy as it gets, right? So that's for one thing. But you got, on the UFC side, you got, it's a win-win, right? Like, it will be no bigger platform, no bigger stage. I'm surprised that Turkey didn't figure out a way to pull this off first in boxing, right? He did Times Square in New York, but it's like, you know, this is the White House, you dig? This is the big house. So, with that being said, it's all just wild, right? It's crazy. Now, let's flip the script. Is it really going to happen? I don't know, right? If it was solely being touted by the UFC and it hadn't been brought up by the Prez himself, I would probably say, who knows, this could be a negotiation tactic for trying to get their next streaming deal, right? Or rights deal, whatever type of deal it's going to be. But at the same time, when dude says stuff and he says stuff in public, and dude being the Prez, he says a lot, and, you know, whatever, who cares? But some things, when he says it, it's probably going to happen in some shape or form, right? So, this could really possibly happen. I can't see it happening at all this year, so it probably have to be a next year type deal. Is this going to be packaged in with the streaming deal, right? Like wherever they're about to go to, whether it's Prime, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Hulu, which they already have a deal with that, dealing with ESPN. It's all kind of under the umbrella. Well, it'd be Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying? Pardon me. But nevertheless, who knows what it could be, right? So you can't make a bigger deal, a bigger splash than to do that first show there, you know what I'm saying, at the White House. So that's crazy right there. But let's flip the script. Let's talk about, so recently, you know what I'm saying, recently I haven't really gotten into it because you never really know with this guy, right? You never really know what he's got going on, what he's thinking, what he's doing, when he's telling the truth, when he's not telling the truth. But we talking about Jon Jones, recently retired. That guy right there, right? Still haven't decided if I'm going to keep him on the wall or take him off. Time will tell, right? He recently retired. I didn't really say much about it on here, if I even mentioned it at all, based out of the fact that you can't trust a lot of things that dude be saying, right? So now as soon as this is brought up about the White House card or show or fight, whatever it's going to be, he's all of a sudden back in. He's only been gone for like 2 weeks. Glad the UFC didn't really announce a lot about it or do a package video, because he back. He's claiming he's back in. He's back in the USADA testing pool. I doubt he ever left. I don't know. I guess he could have. I mean, but who knows? What's going on with him? You know what I'm saying? What's going on with Jon Jones? And this is a question you could have been asking ever since his debut, first time he ever got in trouble, when he wrapped a Bentley around a telephone pole or a tree or something of that nature, right? But, is it all a work, right? Like when you're dealing with a crazy, wild dude, sociopathic type of cat like this dude, and if not, psychopathic type cat like this dude, which is why a lot of things about him being on the wall is in question, right? But was this already gonna go down? And John's just like, I'm gonna keep this moving. I'm gonna keep this going. Everybody already hates me. I'm gonna lean deeper into it. I'm gonna do the biggest troll job of all time and keep stringing along and keep it moving, right? That could be the case, but at the same time, you don't even really want to give him that much intelligence or that much credit, right? Like, you're not trying to disrespect the guy, but that's kind of diabolical, right? And I don't know if what we've seen out of him in his lifetime and his career is necessarily diabolical, which requires a certain element of expertise to navigate through certain lanes and, highly intelligent, higher level thinking to make things happen, right? I don't know if this guy really displays that outside of the octagon. Inside, we could argue that point. Outside, I don't know. So the take of it could all be a troll job, and this is all part of, and the UFC stringing it along, and they're in on it, and Tom's in on it. Now Tom's the real champion, and but now John might come back, but Tom's going to have a few fights in between. Your Cyril Gans, your, Almeida's, Jelton Almeida. It's just like, bro, what's going on, right? Then part of you is like, he just makes mistake after mistake, and he's got the proper people around him that allow him to make the mistakes. But once the mistake is made, they get to spinning and try to make it look like it's all a clever troll job. That might be more of the case, but nevertheless, this dude claims he's back in. But then also out of the woodwork, off in the distance, another man of the same cloth and caliber of Jon Jones has emerged. The old king of snow, Conor McGregor, he comes walking down the mountaintop, you know what I'm saying? And the type of mountains he like to ski on, you know what I'm saying? Now he come walking down the mountaintop. He says he wants in on the White House card against Michael Chandler of all people. Like, and then you're like, well, that demographic does like Michael Chandler. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, anytime you got a sighting of Conor at the UFC, kind of a big deal, even though people want to tout like it's not on, MMA YouTube. It's a big deal. You tuning in, you gonna make videos about it. You know what I'm saying? But now he wants in it, right? And you got your Sean Strickland's chirping. You got your Kobe Covington's chirping. I mean, we could have a all America type card. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. There wasn't really a point to a lot of this. I just wanted to tap in with y'all because I just thought this was wild. Y'all let me know what you think about the UFC at the White House. And once again, I do want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace.